Well, welcome back to Besties in Folklore, the series where two besties chat about current reads, both good and bad. Today, we're talking about our favorites of January and our January reads. So, we decided that we're going to do like something kind of new, and maybe it'll just be part of our videos from now on. But we want to talk about our favorite things for um, the month. So we're doing January. We're a little behind, but we're doing January, um, and we want to talk about three topics. So the first one, because we are drink girlies, and we're foodies too. Like, let's be honest. So the first one is our favorite drink or snack, drink and or snack of the month. So Kim, you want to go?
Yeah. We're drink early. I think my favorite drink in January, I love a good cocktail in the wintertime. And we've been drinking old fashions in our house. We also went out for my husband's birthday and got really good old fashions in Baltimore City. Definitely would say that. The other thing, my husband has been baking bread in 2025, and he's been making different types of bread every week. So here for some fresh baked bread with butter and salt.
Nice. That sounds so good. So I didn't really think of a drink, but I have been liking the Alani's. I've been liking the shaved ice ones. Love Alani. And then mine are both like very processed things, but um, these, which I just had one, they're like, it's like a protein cinnamon roll,
Mm,
and they're actually pretty good. I get
that
them on
sounds
my
good.
gym. My gym gives me like points or like a $5 credit every month, and I always get these. Or I guess I just started getting them in January. That's why it's my January treat. But so those are mine. Okay, the next thing is media. I'll go first on this one because
Okay.
me and my husband have been watching a show called Traders, and we are obsessed with it. January especially, we watched like a lot of Traders because we hadn't watched the previous two what do you call it? Seasons.
Yeah.
And there's a new one. So we were like simultaneously watching the old ones and the new ones. And it's just so good. It's basically like a murder mystery reality show. And it's just so fun. And the people are wild because they're all like reality star, like people that are famous for being on reality television. And they're usually like the villain type people that have been on these shows. A lot of Real Housewives, a lot of like we love Survivor, so there's some Survivor people on there, some Big Brother, which we don't watch, but anyway, it's super fun. There's also a girl named Gabby on there who I love, and she was on The Bachelor. I think she was on The Bachelor. She was a contestant on The Bachelor, and she has this clip going around like Instagram and TikTok that is just like so hilarious to me. I'll have to send it to you, Kim, even though you don't really know who she is. But she's talking about how like the second like after lunch in a workday, you like people want like meetings and stuff, and you're just like, I'm done. Like
Honestly, I feel that vibe.
yeah.
So,
And she's hilarious, and she kind of comes off as ditzy, but you can see her on the show that she actually is really smart. But anyway, that's been really fun. What about you? Any media? So that's the
yeah.
any media.
So
Yeah.
if I were to actually pick what we spent most of January watching, it was football. We're big Eagles football fans, and so we spent most of January just watching everything about the playoffs, playoff football, all of that. Obviously, the Super Bowl was not in January, it was in February, but we spent all of January watching it. But I figured nobody wants to hear about that. So actually, what I
Not
picked
true
was like,
though. Maybe some people
it
do.
is true. And it was really awesome. And I could talk about that for hours. But I said, I cannot stop listening to Gracie Abrams. That's so true. Like, I have been just obsessed with that song. I
Yeah.
listen to it all the time. It like hypes me up. The workouts that I started doing in January, she uses it in one of the days of the workout. So I'm like hiking on the treadmill, like singing. That was definitely my like most played song for the whole month.
That's a good one. Okay, the last thing is I think we decided to call it an item, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
your favorite item of January. Technically, this might be a February, but we're just gonna go with it. Mine is the Kiss nails. I started doing the like glue on nails, And
The
it's
best ones.
yeah, and honestly, it was on your recommendation, so really, this is one of your favorite things too. But um, yeah, I really loved. I'm like really like rough with my hands. Like I use my hands a lot. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm like washing dishes, doing laundry all the time, and they've stayed on pretty well. I've had to fix two of them, but they've lasted like a week so far. So I'm happy
Yeah.
with that. I also have like already have nails. I used to do the gel ones, so I'm just gonna use the glue with those. And I think the glue is like the part that's the key ingredient, so I think it'll be
Yeah.
fine. But anyway, that's just been really like feminine and fun, and I've just loved it. It's just made me feel like special and cute. So that's been my item for January.
Actually, you're making me want to do mine today because I have a set upstairs and I haven't done them all week because my whole week has been so crazy. So now
Yeah,
you're convincing me I'm going to do mine tonight
do
and have
it.
them ready to go for this weekend. Um, so my favorite item that I used the most probably in January was for Christmas. My husband got me a purse that fits my Kindle.
Mm.
And that has been so clutch because I've been reading and able to take it everywhere with me. And I didn't realize this was something I was missing in my life until I had it, of just like having to like carry my Kindle on the side. No, now I can put it in my purse. Love it. The
That's
best.
like the best gifts are the ones that you like didn't realize that you had this like hole in your life and it fixed
Yes,
it.
absolutely.
Awesome. All right, so that's gonna maybe be our new intro. Like talk about our favorite things, and then we'll jump into the books that we read. So
Yeah. Let's talk about what our favorite book was for January since we're talking about favorites. And then we can kind of share some of the other books we read. We read a couple books together. We had a couple books that um, we read apart, some good books, some bad books this month. I think this was a month of ups and downs for books. So
yes, definitely. So why don't you go first?
I would say my favorite book was probably Onyx Storm. But I will say I finished Iron and Embers by Helen Scheuer in January too, and was so fantastic. Cannot stop thinking about that book. And we love her. We
Yeah.
love everything she writes.
Hmm.
And this whole series is going to be gold. So,
Yeah, for sure. I I would have to agree. I didn't finish in January. I didn't finish Iron and Numbers in January, just the beginning of February. But I agree. I feel like Onyx Storm was more of like this like puzzle that we're like trying to figure out, and it's so fun. We were part
yeah.
of this huge like wave of people who are experiencing the same thing. That was so fun. Iron and Numbers just felt like comforting and like
Yeah.
just coming back to an old friend like
Yep.
that we loved so much. So I feel like those for sure. It's hard to compare them, but those were like my two favorites. If I can count Iron and Embers, I'll say it again in our February one because I finished it in February, but it was an experience of January still.
It
So,
was. It was.
um,
And then we also read Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt, which this was your first book by her.
yeah,
This was my second book by her, and we both loved it. It was really cute.
it was really cute. I mean, it was just a feel good rom com, honestly, and I
Yeah.
loved. It was very funny. I really loved that, and it's about a comedian, so I was expecting it to be funny, and I was like a little bit worried that that would come across like cheesy almost, but it delivered. I feel like it was fun. It was a good time, I think,
It did.
and we're looking forward to an arc.
Yeah,
From
Left
her,
It
right?
Forever,
Yeah,
which is her new book. We both were able to snag it on NetGalley when she had it out,
yep.
a couple weeks ago. And so we're going to be together in March and
Fun.
hopefully be able to read that together. So, yeah, looking forward to reading another book by her. I have only seen really good reviews of this one, so I'm excited to read it.
Yeah, me too. I am gonna be reading the first in the. It's like a series, right? Like a loose series.
Yeah, it's like it's not they're interconnected standalones, I think they call it. So it's the
Okay.
same world, but like the stories don't build on each other. So the characters in her new book are in her book Savor It,
Yeah.
which I already read. So
Yeah, I'm gonna be reading that. It's gonna be my next read, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm glad I didn't realize that she had also written Funny Feelings, so I'm glad that I'm going into it knowing that I have already enjoyed a book that she's written. So I'm always a
Yeah,
little tentative, like going into a new romance author, like, oh, please don't like make me cringe.
Yeah.
I didn't feel cringed out at all reading Funny Feelings, so I think that's a good sign.
Yes. All right. So that's pretty much the three we read together. You didn't finish Iron Numbers, but those are the ones we kind of read together. So I read, which I still am Oh.
Do you want to talk about A Touch of Poison? Because we did read.
Oh my God, yes. Okay, yeah.
I'm telling you, you're really trying to forget this.
I'm really trying not to talk about this book, aren't I?
So
all right, go.
We read a book last year called what was it called?
A Kiss of Iron.
A Kiss of Iron. I really loved that book. I recommended it to Kim. It's in some of our videos, like me raving about it. I really liked it, and I stand by that. I feel like it was good.
Yeah, I really liked it too.
Yeah, it was like Bridgerton plus magic, like high society mystery kind of. I don't know. It was different than a lot of things that we've read, but I really enjoyed it. So this is the second book to that series. It came out in January. We read it and we didn't love it.
Nope. And we really wanted to love it because we
really
liked the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, it was that the third one came out, and so we were like, oh, we'll finish the series. And yeah, and just neither one of us has read the third book. So if that tells you how we felt about it,
I totally forgot.
Finished the second one.
I thought the second book was I thought the one that we read was the one that came out, but it wasn't even when we didn't even read the one that came out. Okay, yeah, so that was disappointing. Yeah. Maybe I'll revisit it because I really did like the first book. Maybe I can just like tell myself, okay, it was just a fluke and hopefully the last book will be better. I honestly don't even know what we didn't really like about it. I'm sitting here trying to think like what could we tell.
It was slow. It felt like it was so slow and like it dragged on. It was really long and it just felt like nothing happened for a lot of it. Yeah. I remember both of us kind of like picking it up, putting it back down. I think I read something else in the middle of it because I couldn't just keep going with it because it was too slow to read. And I think the story got a little bit far-fetched as well. So, yeah, that was kind of a mess.
We hate talking about books that we like didn't like, but I think it's because we've talked about the first book being so good.
Yeah, we
kind of need to follow up on that. And it was a book that we read together, so
yeah.
Okay. I'll let you continue on to what you were saying, but I just had to sneak that in there.
So I have pushed Alex to read this, but we've had so many books that we've been wanting to read. A lot of books have come out in January and February. I would say I think the spring is a lull, but it's not. I have a book coming out in March and April that I want to read too. But I read Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. And this was recommended by a friend. I said, I'm feeling in a rut after we read Touch of Poison. I was like, I'm in a rut. I don't know what to read. What do you recommend on KU? And she recommended this and it was excellent. It was my first 5-star read of the year. It's fantasy, ghosts, like she kind of like speaks to the dead. And it's also trials. So Games and Trials, I love a Games and Trials book.
Love Trials.
So good. This was so well done. And the nice part is she's writing, it's going to be an interconnected standalone series. So she's writing another book. It's not connected to this, but it's the same world with one of the other characters. So that comes out, I believe, in April. Really excited to read it. Loved Phantasma.
And I think it was pretty short for like a fantasy.
Yeah, it didn't take me long to read. It was really engaging. I was really interested in the story because you didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was kind of unpredictable in that way.
I'll definitely be reading that one. It's just in my long list.
Yeah, in your long list of books. It is on KU, so always a nice grab if you're looking for something a little bit different on KU. And then I finished Magnolia Parks's saga of that series. So the series is not finished. She's writing more about Daisy Hades, but Magnolia is like part of the series. I finally got the book off of Libby Holtz. I think I had that book on hold for like 3 months and I finished it in January. So good. I know you're not a big fan of the series, but I know that there are hopefully people who watch our videos are. It was just a really nice ending. It was a really nice ending to Magnolia's like story. she had a lot of things to overcome in this series and a lot of emotional turmoil. And I felt like she ended that saga on a good note. I'm excited to keep reading because Daisy is like my favorite character in this series, Daisy and Julian. So I'm really excited to get back to that. She hasn't released a new date for the rest of them, but I know she has 2 more books coming out. So excited about that. I have 2 more, but why don't you do a couple and then I'll jump back in with my last 2.
Okay. I'm just gonna do all mine because I don't have a lot. A lot of the books that I read are the books that we read. And I'm working on trying to be a quicker reader, but it's a learning experience for me. Anyway, I finished Iron Flame, so I don't really have a ton to say about that. Obviously, I love that series, so it was a good time. I listened to the graphic audio, and that was great.
Yeah, me too. We did do that together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess another book that we read together.
We both wanted to reread the series before Onyx Storm came out, and we were able to make that happen. So.
And I'm so glad we did because
Agreed.
It was important, I think.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I did was I went on a tear of celebrity memoirs. So I read, in January, I read Britney Spears' The Woman in Me, and I read Paris, the memoir. So Britney Spears and Paris Hilton's memoirs. I started with Britney Spears because I'd just seen it everywhere and it was available in my library, cloud library. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna try that, and it was really good. I was surprised at the depth. I wasn't expecting it to be like have such depth, and just I feel like she was pretty self-aware as far as like, you know, her privilege and the luck that she's had and things like that, and I really appreciated that. I think sometimes celebrity memoirs can come off as like a little bit like, I know everything, like let me show you my ways.
Yeah.
And I don't love that always, so I liked that, and I liked that I connected with her as far as she just really wanted to be a mom, and like family was really important to her, is really important to her. I'm not talking about her like she's dead. She's not dead. She's very much alive. But I related to her a lot in those ways. And then on the other side of the coin, I listened to Paris Hilton's. Didn't relate with her so much. I told Kim, like, she says that her main goal in life is to be the most famous person ever. And like that just didn't really resonate with me very much.
She does have a family now too, right?
You know what? I'm not sure. I know at the end she talks about struggling with infertility. But I think she did end up having, after this.
Yeah, I think so. I wonder if that changed her perspective.
Yeah, maybe. I think she like had a really complicated relationship with her family, like her parents. But like in her defense, she was able to forgive a lot from her parents. The big shocker to me, I was expecting this to just be very shallow, talking about fashion and celebrity, like dropping celebrity names and her, you know, little dogs that she has and things like that.
Yeah.
And that was in there for sure, but there was her very crazy story about her parents sent her to like a camp for troubled youth from like ages 7, like for a year and a half or so, like until she was 18. And they like abused her and kids died there. Like it was really crazy. Yeah. So she tells this whole story of like things that she witnessed there and how she eventually ended up advocating to get rid of these camps. So yeah, it shocked me. I wasn't expecting. I almost was like thinking maybe I should just not like stop reading this. But then she went into this crazy story that was really, really interesting, and so I kept it with it, and I was glad I did. I wish it was a little shorter because it did kind of drag on a little bit. She has ADHD, and she talks about her struggle with that. But honestly, and her book is very much written like a person with ADHD would write. Like she's talking about something really deep, and then she would jump to like something very light, and like this party she went to with Britney Spears or whatever, and that actually helped me get through the book because the heavy parts were so heavy that I honestly felt like in myself I was starting to like feel dark, like almost, because it was like I can't believe people do this, especially to kids, even if they're troubled. Yeah. Like it's really messed up. So I was kind of glad that she would like jump back and forth because it made it a little easier to listen to and get through. But I would recommend both for sure. And it was fun. I read a book that maybe I'll talk about in our next month video that kind of stopped my celebrity memoir like tangent.
Journey.
Yeah. But these two were ones that I really enjoyed. So anyway, those are mine.
Yay.
That's all I
Something
got.
different.
Yeah.
Well, I read something I would say was a little bit different for me too in January. So I read Nocticadia by Carrie Lake, which is a little bit darker than the books I typically pick up. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. The story is super interesting. It has that mystery element we were just talking about that we liked in A Kiss of Fire, and it has that. Um, the characters are really interesting. The world is really interesting. What they're doing is really like everything she wrote is just a fascinating saga. Like things happen that you didn't see coming. It was a crazy, dark, wild journey, and I loved it. I started it before Onyx Storm came out, so I paused and read Onyx Storm, and honestly was excited to come back to it. So I think that tells you something, that like I was so excited to come back to this book after I had just finished Onyx Storm, that I didn't feel like I had like a book hangover, because I was like, yes, I'm going to finish it. It was really good. I'm going to keep reading Carrie Lake because I really liked it. And I think it's Anathema is her other book that's really famous.
I see.
And so I definitely am planning to read that in the next like 2 months here, because it was just so good. So yes, loved that, outside of my comfort zone, and loved it.
I wonder if I would like that one. Or if
It's pretty dark, but it was interesting. It has a lot of science-y elements too.
Okay.
Like the main male character is a scientist and he's doing research at this university. So it is like dark academia.
It's magic, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Weird answer, but
No.
hesitant, weird answer, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say no.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but yeah, really
But
good.
the book would say no. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Gotcha.
It's layered. It's a layered book.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. But highly recommend. And then the other book that I really liked that I read was, I got an advanced reader copy of a book called Between the Pines by Amber Palmer, which I did post like a short snippet review of on our page. And I love me a cowboy romance book. I've read a lot of them over my reading journey. I probably read somewhere upwards of 20 or 25 cowboy romance books. Love them. And this one was so good. It's actually out now on KU, so if anybody wants to read it, I read it in January, but it did come out on the 17th of February. It's so cute. The characters are great. A lot of really good banter. And the best part to me about this book was the length. It's like about 300 pages. I think it's like 290 pages. And so it doesn't feel like it drags on. It doesn't feel like you're like reading it forever. It feels like the right amount of time to get this story. But yeah, really cute. It's about a girl who she stops in a small town bar on her way to her parents' house, meets this guy, stays with him for 5 days. And then she's like, nope, I gotta go home. She goes home and finds out a year later that the guy comes to work on her family's ranch. And that they kind of knew each other but didn't know they knew each other. He's been waiting for her the whole time. It's very, very cute, really well done. She's writing other books, so hopefully I can get those in advance too, but I loved reading it. It was so enjoyable, and it's a very quick, easy read to get off KU, so recommend it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So that was not all the books I read. I read 15 books in the month of January, but some of them were just fluff because I'm in a winter space of needing some fluff, and I'm okay with that.
yeah.
But these were the really good books I read.
Yeah. Awesome. I guess that's it. I mean, we had
Yeah.
a pretty good. We had a pretty good month, I would say. Couple.
Yeah.
But not too bad. There's
Could have been
always
way worse.
fun, like
Yes.
it's part of learning what you like, I guess, and
Yeah.
taking risks. But anyway, all right. I guess
So, to come for our February reads, if anybody wants to know what we're going to talk about in February, we're going to talk about First Time Caller by BK Borison. So, come back and look for that because that was a February read and we both really want to talk about it.
Gosh, yeah, for sure.
I'm also going to talk about Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I know you haven't read it, but this book has me in a chokehold and I cannot stop thinking about it. So,
yeah, there's a lot of exciting. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of exciting releases. February, I feel like it has been a big month.
yeah.
So there's several that we aren't even like looking into, but there's a lot, I feel like. So exciting, fun.
Yay.
All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.